Welcome to The Human Factor, Corporate Integrity Matters, the podcast where we explore the leadership choices that define not just organizations, but the people behind them. I'm Sonja Stirnimann, your host, and in today's episode, we are looking at the growing and inescapable truth. In a world of complexity, volatility, and unexpected change, we need more leaders who are crisis experienced. Not just to keep things going, but to lead with integrity when it matters most.
In today's complex business environment, leaders need not only to be prepared for the worst, but also to build their resilience. At The Human Factor, Corporate Integrity Matters' Sonja Stirnimann invites top executives, board members, and industry experts to reflect and talk about the realities of corporate integrity, risk, and ethical leadership. As an international governance authority, independent director, and entrepreneur, she understands the challenges leaders face. Integrity and ethical leadership are not just principles. They build resilience, enhance reputation, and create strategic competitive advantage for organizations and for individuals.
You might have asked yourself, why this topic right now? My short answer, crisis doesn't build character, it reveals it. And in leadership, it reveals whether decisions are driven by fear, by pressure, or by values. The longer answer follows now in this episode. There is a growing demand for leaders who can stay present under pressure, who don't just protect the system, but lead ethically when the stakes are high. These are leaders who make trust tangible, who know that even in chaos, integrity is not optional, it's essential. And that's what we are talking about today. What I see in daily life is that the potential is still quite big, and therefore I would like to outline just a few advantages of crisis-experienced leaders. Leaders who have survived, experienced, and managed crisis don't panic when things go sideways. They have learned to maintain clarity in uncertainty. They make decisions quickly and carefully. They communicate transparently even when the answers aren't yet clear. They stay accountable when others deflect or disappear. They become the people others look to, not just for their authority, but for their stability and values under pressure. They are the human factor in a system that too often values control and compliance over ethics and courage. And on the other hand, what happens when this experience is lacking? When a leader lacks this experience, we see avoidable damage in teams, organizations, and also other settings. Just a few examples: delayed responses or over-control, mixed or misleading messages, loss of team cohesion, panic instead of presence, and decisions made out of self-protection rather than shared responsibility. And all that doesn't just affect the business, it affects the culture, trust, and integrity, and especially also the reputation, the one of the company, the organization, but also the one of the leaders. And yes, for sure, there are also invisible costs coming with that. Your people stop speaking up, they disengage, and you lose the very conditions you need to navigate through a crisis with your ethics intact. The question, when it comes to that discussion, my clients often raise is, but how can we then build crisis resilience without waiting for the next crisis, but also avoiding just another project nobody is eager to join but costs a lot? And yes, of course, crisis skills can be trained before the heat is on. And there I just want to mention 5 skills you can start building now. More of them, of course, we do in our one-to-ones or team workshops, but here for the podcast, I just have a shorter version for you. The first one is the ethical decision-making under pressure. We all can practice with time-limited, value-laden scenarios, even in trainings. The second one is the calm self-regulation. We use personal reflection and structured debriefing to make sure that we can regulate ourselves and our teams. Ask yourself maybe, did I act from values or was it just a reaction? The third one is the transparent communication. You can practice the following sentence. Here is what we know, what we do not know, and what we are going to do next. It's a super powerful phrase. The fourth one, system thinking with human awareness. Always ask yourself and the team, who is affected? What risks are we ignoring because they are inconvenient? Nobody likes inconvenient risks. The fifth one, accountability in ambiguity. Empower others to speak up, reward honesty, not just results. And please also keep in mind that these are just ideas to start with. There are so many other tools and approaches to increase personal and organizational resilience. But as usual, a podcast episode is not the right setting to cover individual needs of a leader and an organization. And as a start for a personal reflection we all could do, I would like to give you 3 key questions at hand. These ones I also use when I work one-to-one as a sparring partner with my clients, just to understand themselves better. When I'm under pressure, am I still leading from my own deep values and integrity? How do I regulate myself before influencing others with that energy? Have I created an environment where people can speak up, especially when there is uncertainty? Please be aware, these are not soft questions, nor are these easy to answer. They are very strategic. And they determine whether your leadership behavior might build or break integrity, yours and or the one of the organizations you serve. With having said that, we also do good, starting to empower our teams to think about resilience and integrity, which is also one of the questions we often got over the last few months from our clients, asking how could they involve their teams in doing so. So I suggest starting with micro conversations. Maybe you want to bring up the following to your team. One is a question: when things get tough, what helps us hold the line? We can also invite them for a feedback on how decisions were made, not just what was decided, but how was the decision made. And we can also use team reviews to find out, did we implement this in line with our values, or was it just a reaction? And finally, get into the habit of asking together, how resilient is our organization, not just operationally, but also ethically? Now, let's summarize and come to an end for this episode. In an area of increasing complexity, it's not enough to be a competent leader. We all have to ensure to become, or to stay a resilient leader to serve our organization. One who is trustworthy, clear, and aligned, especially when it's difficult. Because that's when integrity is really put to the test. That is what the human factor is all about. This was another episode of The Human Factor Corporate Integrity Matters, where we uncover the leadership strategies that define governance, risk, and resilience. Guided by the principle corporate integrity is the foundation of trust, resilience, and long-term success, as we heard in our discussion before. Thank you for listening. I'm Sonja Stirnimann, your host. Stay vigilant, act decisively, and lead with integrity. Take care, and until next time.